We're chatting with Rona Davis-Tour. She's a senior public relations and communications manager with an interesting company called Wix, and we're on the roof of Wix's building looking at the beautiful Mediterranean. Rona, I'll give the background very quickly about Wix. Wix is not a startup. It was a startup in 2006, founded by two brothers and another person, friend. Starting in a completely different direction, something to do with cloud storage. They started to build a website, found it was extraordinarily difficult, and decided they would build a company around a method, a platform for easy templates to help people build convenient, easy to maintain websites. So Wix now is 9 years old. It's an established company. It's done an initial public offering of stock. It employs over 1,000 people, $140 million in revenue, I believe, maybe a little more. You have the numbers. And the reason we're here, Rona, is because Wix is an adolescent company that has grown from a startup and learned a lot of things along the way. We're going to talk about some of the lessons Wix has learned in growing from a startup to an established company. So let's start with what I think is perhaps one of the most interesting stories, Rona. Last January, we had the Super Bowl in the United States, and Wix spent a great deal of money and a lot of effort in buying a Super Bowl ad. Why would Wix spend all of that money, millions of dollars, for a Super Bowl ad?
Well, it was the perfect timing for a Super Bowl ad for Wix. We had 4 TV campaigns before. We had millions and millions of users, and we decided we need to move up. So I don't know if everyone knows, but Super Bowl ad is, people watch the Super Bowl for the ads. They don't really watch it for the game.
What about Canada?
Nope.
That indoor league?
Nope.
What am I gonna do?
Do what everybody else does. Start a business. Build yourself a website.
Welcome to T.O.'s Humble Pie.
With Wix, it's easy to create a website and build your own business.
Let's party!
Just click, drag, and drop to create a stunningly beautiful, totally customized, all-pro website. All by yourself.
Farve and carve. It's charcuterie.
You did that yourself?
Don't look so surprised. Yeah.
Wix.com. It's that easy.
I'm gonna get something real quick.
No rush.
If you're a company, a well-known company, you're gonna have a Super Bowl ad, like all the big brands.
Right.
And we knew that was our time to be there. We actually didn't do a Super Bowl ad, we did a Super Bowl campaign. It was for a whole month. We had 16 social channels. We released 26 videos before. We had lots of engagements with users and with people that we want to be our users in order to raise brand awareness. And one of the very interesting and lucky thing is that the Super Bowl is the most watched American TV spot, but we were very lucky because we got a good game. And our ad was at the end, and it was a game point. So we had 110 million people watching our 30-second ad.
Wow.
So that was just the end of the ad. When we sum it up in the end, we had worth of $43 million in impressions and broadcasting and press. So I think it was worth our while.
It was worthwhile. And of course, there's a lot to do with it related to luck, because that last play was the crucial play, one of the great all-time moments in Super Bowl history. And that's when your ad ran with all those eyeballs.
That's true. Sometimes you have to be lucky in life, and sometimes you are lucky. But we also worked very hard. We had 2,077 mentions in the press, and then 166 mentions in the top line where everyone can see what Wix is.
Wow.
They actually had a survey afterwards, and 40% more people said they knew what Wix was.
Wow. So one of the tools we teach in this course, Rona, is called platform. And the idea here is don't just build one product. Build a platform on which you can create a range of products. And I think Wix is a good example. So Wix began supplying easy-to-use, convenient, inexpensive templates for building websites. And then you discovered something, that a lot of small businesses want a website, not as a website, but to do e-commerce, to sell their product. So you evolved your business, you progressed your business into a framework to help businesses do e-commerce. Can you talk a bit about how that evolution occurred?
That's true, and since then we've had more things. In 2012, we opened the app market, where you can choose what app you need, if it's SEO, or if it's a calendar, or if it's an app that reminds you of when your client's birthday is. And we released Wix Shoutout, where you can send a newsletter, or you can send to your clients, we have a special sale today, or if you sign up, get a 20% off. We released Wix Hotels. Especially, we found out that a lot of people need a website for a hotel. Not only hotel, bed and breakfast, small little places where they don't have money to have this huge website,
Right.
and they could build it very easily. And today you could book your hotel or your room through something like that. We keep on improving our product and realizing what our users need and what users we have. So we keep on thinking, and also we get the ideas from our support. People are calling, I need this, I need that.
Right.
We keep on thinking what else we need.
Right. Interesting. So a problem I've discovered in high-tech companies is that when they grow bigger, they continue to preach innovation and find it almost impossible to be innovative simply because of their big size. People feel alienated and feel unimportant, unempowered in a huge organization. Wix is a big company, now over 1,000 people, but as I walk in the door and come to your reception desk, it feels like a startup. It feels like a small company. How do you retain this feeling of smallness even if you are a big company?
I think Wix is different. It really does feel like a startup. I agree. As a worker, it feels like a startup to me. We have companies within the company, and then everyone belongs to a company, so that already makes you feel like you have your own division. And then we have all these events to know exactly what's happening. We have Wix News once a week. All the employees get a newsletter of what's going on. Of course, it's Shoutout, one of our products. We use that.
Right.
And then we have company updates every quarter. The CEO, the president, COO, everyone comes and talks to us and explains. And there's I think I can say anyone who has a good idea or feels like he has something that can improve the company, he can always have a meeting with the COO, the CEO, anyone very high up. That's, I think, very Israeli. Around the world, you can't necessarily have a meeting with anyone. But here in this company, you can get a meeting with anyone and tell them your ideas, and many times that will also happen.
Wow. So when I spoke to one of your founders earlier in an interview for a column I wrote, the founder said that everything happening in the company is known to every other employee. And apparently this transparency is a key part of the company's values. How does this work in practice, that everything happening is known to all the employees? Tell us about Shoutout, for example.
I think the better thing would be to tell you about the Pulse.
Yes, the Pulse.
The Pulse is like an internal Facebook.
Right.
Everyone that does something or I do PR. So if I have a very, very big article, I will put it on the Pulse, and then everyone can see it. The Pulse was actually is a different startup of two people that were here. They worked for Wix, and then they saw that you need a pulse. You need something in companies that are growing very fast for everyone to know about all the new things that are happening and important things. And they initiated the startup, and today they have a startup, and we use the pulse
Cool.
within the company.
With your permission, I'd like to ask you a personal question. You're a mother, you have a small child, I think she's 15 months old. You have a really responsible, demanding job. Is it possible for women to work in high tech and still have a life and be mothers? Is it possible to even start a company and still be a mother and raise a child?
Absolutely. I think that if you want to do it, you can manage. So I leave at 4 sometimes because I have to pick him up from daycare. But then if I need to do things in the evening, I'll do things. I'm very responsible. I also come in earlier. I come in, this is a high-tech company. People come around 10.
Right.
I'm here at 7:30.
Wow.
And I get a lot of work done then. I think that Wix is a great company because they trust me. They know that I'll work and I'll do what I need to do in order to succeed in my job. And there's lots of parents here and lots of mothers and lots of fathers, and Wix supports it. And I think that's very important for a company.
In one of my columns, I spoke to a senior Wix manager, several, because Wix is leading an effort to organize companies or startups, and they don't want to do exits, even though their investors want them to, because that's how investors get their money out. But these startups want to be like Wix. They want to grow and become an independent, sustained company. And Wix is leading this effort, has even created a small group of companies working together. There's been a conference, presentation to senior government officials. Tell us a bit about this effort of a hardworking, busy company that still tries to be socially responsible and create value for its country, not just for its own company and shareholders.
I think we have a lot of knowledge in Israel, and I think we have a lot of hardworking people. We also go to the army, and that's a big influence. We have a lot of people that go to a unit called 8200, and a lot of people there have had startups and have even sold them. But today it's not only about the exit. You can get rich fast, we know that. But today we want to establish a startup nation in Israel. We want the companies to grow and to stay in Israel and to bring all these good people to work for these companies. And that's why we initiated the Israeli Growth Forum. We have lots of Israeli companies together with us, and we all want to grow and stay here. That's why we're meeting with government officials and people who can help us with regulation issues and other issues that we need to help us stay here and grow the startup nation in Israel, because there is one.
A lot of interesting things and unusual things happen here at Wix. Tell us some of the stories you think are useful for sharing with our students. Our students, some of them have jobs in high tech. Many of them are considering starting a business. What can we share with our students who are thinking about starting a business, who are looking at a company like Wix, which has grown successfully? What wisdom can we share with them?
Well, first of all, if you're starting a business, build yourself a website.
Right. Number
The
one.
online presence is very, very important,
Yes.
and you could do it easily with Wix,
Right.
because you could do it beautiful and you have lots of features. That's the first thing. But our CEO once told me that he thinks that he succeeded because he invented this company because of a problem he had. He solved his own problem. He didn't imagine
Right.
problems that other people might have. He solved the problem that he was frustrated that he couldn't build a website. It was too hard, it's too expensive, and that's why he did it. And I think that's the key. You have to look at yourself and what you need and not imagine what other people need. I'm not saying that that can't work. It can also work. But that was a good advice that he gave me.
That has come up again and again, Rona, as we visit startups and ask them about how they got the idea. And so often the idea happens because there's something that I need and it doesn't exist and I wish it did and I can make it happen. And if I need it, perhaps a lot of other people need it as well. I think that's a valuable lesson. This morning we were at a startup launched by senior citizens who needed a place where other people over 50 could socialize, a real social network. They themselves needed it, and they were sure many, many other people over 50 did as well. The result was a successful business. As a public relations expert, what should I have asked you that I failed to?
I think I could say that the market is basically unlimited because today we have 70 million users. But everyone is actually a business. Everyone is a small business. It's the dog walker, it's the babysitter,
Right.
and then it's the PR firm and the photographer. And everyone needs a website.
Right.
So I think what's very successful and makes me happy at Wix that I know that our market can expand and expand and expand and we can get millions and millions and millions of more users. And of course we're always improving and bringing more products, but I know that we'll never reach the limit.
However, perhaps we can end on this note. There is something that may limit Wix's growth, and it's not money or ideas or creativity, it's talented people. I think the world and our country specifically is facing a great shortage of talent. And you mentioned that one of your tasks is to help recruiting great talent by simply getting people to know about Wix and what a good place it is to work at. Tell us a bit about this issue of finding talent, finding good people in a market that's increasingly competitive.
It's true, it's very hard finding talented people. But I think for Wix it may be a little easier because we're an international company. We had a Super Bowl campaign. We had things that people in Israel, they don't get a big chance to work with. I think that we do need to open like Wix Academy, to open other things, other education programs to get people to work, to get people that can work here in Israel. Israel, like we said before, is a startup nation. Lots of companies are looking for these talented people.
Right.
But I think that in Israel we do have these talented people. And I think we could do more to create more talented people.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps one insight I've gained from your great company, from Wix. Wix is not the only company building websites and web-based templates and web-based platforms. You have really stiff, fierce competition. You're the only company so far as I know, that's done an initial public offering of stock. That means that you maybe have a little bigger bank account, a little more resources to enable you to compete. But nonetheless, the point here is really simple. If you have an idea to meet a need, there are other people out there who are trying to meet it as well. If you can do it a whole lot better than the competition, then you'll be successful. Just because somebody's doing something already doesn't mean you don't need to do it. It just means you have to do it really a whole lot better. So Rona, we've learned a lot. Thanks a lot for the interview. Best of luck to you and to your company, to Wix.
Thank you.